legitfantasysports.com. It's me, it's Mike Lepre. Just in case you didn't hear me say it in the beginning, Legit Paranormal. Joining me as always is the genius, Kev. Genius.
How's it going, King?
Going great. I didn't know when I went live, so you know better than I when it started.
Yeah. It's good you did it. Let's just put it this way. It's good you did it the second time.
All right. Thank you.
There was a go live. Then it said confirm you want to go live. So we had a little bit of a hiccup getting going, but I think that's okay.
Hey, now you're learning what I know, buddy. Now you're learning what I know.
Yep.
Hey, so joining us is fresh out of the hospital, fresh out of getting cut up. He had like a small pear taken out of his stomach. Buddy, there. Buddy.
Hey, guys.
How you feeling, bud?
How's it going, buddy?
Good. The artist formerly known as Buddy's Gallbladder is out of the house.
So he's left the building.
Hey,
I'll let you get by this week not upgrading the poster because you had an operation. I'm giving you this one.
No tape on the outside.
Yeah, you're right. It looks better. It
looks only half ghetto now.
Oh, it looks much better. All right. Okay. All right. So, buddy, please introduce our next guest.
So this evening's guest, his name is Christopher DiCesare. He's known as the Ghost Boy of Geneseo. I think I'm saying it right. I first met Chris at a Paracon years ago, where he gave a lecture about his experiences, about his book, Surviving Evidence, and his story. I've heard the lecture. I've gone back and I've heard it about a dozen times. And every time you kind of get something different from it. But it's somebody's experience who just kind of goes to college and the shit hits the fan. And the traumatic experiences that came from it, it's unreal. So Chris DiCesare, that's our guest this evening.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Chris, let me break this down first because it's DiCesare, right? It's DiCesare. So are you going with the you're telling me it's DiCesare?
I'm gonna go with that.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Because I know DiCesare's. So there's DiCesare's, but it's Kev.
It's Latin.
I lost the bet.
You lost the bet.
DiCesare, but it's DiCesare. It's Latin. It's from Caesar.
Oh, it's a great name. It's a great Italian name. You know what I mean?
Before the show, King Mike and I went back and forth on this, and I won the bet because
pronunciation of the last name,
right? So
because I know DiCesare's, that's why. But I'm sorry, buddy. Back to you. So what I do know is this, Chris. I read about and listened to a couple of different interviews about your story, and it was just like I have so many questions for you, man. Like I really do. Like every time I heard something, I had like a question pop in my head. It's unbelievable what you went through. And I know you tell everybody the same story. So like, I know that's like grain on you, but it's like an unbelievable story. So if you can just give us a little bit, like because it's only an hour, but kind of give us a little bit of a breakdown of the beginning of it. Cause that's where I got freaked out the most. That was like, what's going on with Chris?
Well, I thank you for that, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on here to talk with you and your listeners as well. This is cathartic for me. This is something that's healthy for me. Sometimes you go through a trauma, whatever it is. It could be drug abuse, loss of a job, loss of a parent, car accident, whatever. You hold emotions inside your body. It could be divorce. And it's good once in a while to say what you feel, just get the rage or the fear out. And so I always welcome my chance to share my experience with people because maybe it might help somebody. And for me, it helps to clarify things in my head. But yeah, I went to college way back in 1983. So I'm an old timer, and my second year at college at Geneseo, a beautiful state school, gorgeous valleys and hills and just absolutely spectacular. My second year, I had the opportunity to see and hear Ed and Lorraine Warren speak. The paranormal spirit warriors, basically. And they came to my college. I didn't really follow the paranormal. I was a runner. I like sports, baseball, marathon running. But my friend said the magic words, "It's free." And so I went, why not? And it was fascinating. I didn't think what they were saying was provable, but they believed it. And that was compelling to me. What would make a person believe these things exist? And, you know, Star Wars, Star Trek, they're real per se. People love those Game of Thrones because it's human stories and experiences, what's out there. So I watched the procedure. It was great. Lorraine was elegant. Ed was intelligent. At the end of the lecture, they said, come up and meet Lorraine Warren. Come say hello. And she was young then, 39 years old. Now she passed away at 90-something. And I got to the stage, and she looked at me, and she wouldn't shake my hand. And she said, I won't shake your hand. I don't want to know my future. Like, what's that about? And Ed pushed me off the stage, pushed me right off the stage in the room. It was so embarrassing. I was like, I get thrown off the stage from Ed and Lorraine Warren. Like, ooh. So they're going to do this big ghost hunt across the campus, which is a common thing back then to look for, you know, incidences and things like that. Every story has them. A lady in white, a person from a tree. There's always some story, a burial ground. And my friend wanted to go. His name was Jeff. I said, Jeff, I'm not going to go. They threw me off the stage. There's no way I'm going with them. They're mean, you know. So we go back to my room, and Jeff said to me, well, why do you think she said that? Well, I don't know. Maybe you're sensitive. Well, I am now. I just got off the stage. Of course I'm sensitive. No, I mean, like, you know, sensing things and knowing things. And his belief was that she felt maybe I could see or hear things. And I didn't really have a lot of evidence to back that up, you know. So
didn't you feel turned down? Just turned down? Like, geez.
There were 200 people there, and you know it's a big scene. And when you're a teenager, you want to be cool. I want to be the cool dude, not from off the stage. Like, what the heck? I didn't even know what happened. I want to make my own agenda. You know what I'm saying? My own destiny. Huh? And you can't attack a famous person. That's ridiculous. You know, be arrested, going to drop or what? I don't know. They would take your hand. Anyway, so I thought that was it. That's the end of my experience. And by the way, I got the chance to talk about that with them 30 years later, and so it's just a funny misunderstanding. But you know, it shows you don't always know things at the time. In any event, about 9 days later, I began to hear my name being whispered in the room. And I thought maybe it's a prank. So, you know, get down the hallway, looked at the window. I kept hearing it over and over again, my name. Chris. So finally, I got some headphones on. The old-fashioned 80s, like Princess Leia bun headphones, you know? And I played Sammy Hagar, I Can't Drive 55, just loud. Voice of America, VOA, right? So I'm playing this song because I can't hear them. They can't bother me. But in the headphones, over the music, I hear Chris. And that's when I knew something was strange. That's when I knew something was up. This was not a normal thing. Within 40 hours, I was seeing this figure in my room coming from the wall, looking at me with this tilted head. And I have to tell you that my father, Italian dude, Vito, tough, you know, Golden Ghost boxer,
there you go.
He raised me not to panic. Just don't panic, Christopher. Just don't panic. You take care of things. Things work out. But when I saw that thing in the room, I panicked because this is impossible. And the thought was, wait a second. If that's not right, then what else is not right? Like, what don't I know? My whole world was thrown off my kilter because there's this dead thing looking at me in the room. And so I ran out very bravely screaming, ah!
So,
up again.
So, Chris, can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I thought of, and again, I listened to like a bunch of the YouTube interviews. I watched the School Spirits episode, and the part with Ed and Lorraine Warren. Do you think that could have caused something to attach to you, or like there was just like a bunch of people there with like the way they operate, the way they're looking at things? Like could it possibly been that your attendance there had something to do with what happened after, that it wasn't just that your perception was changed, or you always had these perceptions, that possibly something happened at that? Because Buddy's talked in the past about attachments, and it just kind of came to me.
That's a great question. I think because, you know, I didn't want to know at the time what it was. I just wanted it gone from my life. I didn't care who it was, what it was, just get it away from me. So I didn't pursue it from a investigation standpoint. I just would throw things and run and scream and get out of the way of it, you know. People around me were wondering, though, what is this thing? You know, who is it? Why is it there? And some people just speculate, well, listen, you were fine. The Warrens show up, and all of a sudden, you know, you're going to get near her, she will shake your hand, and this thing could have gotten on you and brought it right back to the dorm room. I didn't know at the time if that was true or not. I wouldn't discount it because that would be a logical way to start. I didn't use Ouija boards. I didn't pursue these things. I meet them, all of a sudden, bang, within 11 days it begins. So I think it's a fair response to the situation. Maybe they did that. It wasn't until 30 years afterwards we began to get some clarity on who it might have been and why. But I think you raise an interesting point, because people do investigate in these places. And if you suppose that ghosts do exist and they do have an intelligence to them, then they can take action. If they can take action, they might say, hey, going home with you. You know, and so humans like interaction, right? And if you find somebody who can see you and they can hear you, here's my chance. What, you see me? You can hear me? This is my guy. You know, so that's a great question, I think.
You know what? I get two just remarks. One, first of all, it's odd that it's Sammy Hagar 55. That's the very first CD I ever bought. The first CD my dad bought was like Sammy Hagar. It was called 50. I forget what it was called, but it had that one song on it.
Voice of America, VOA.
Another good song, but just that one good song on it.
That's right. The Red Rocker. That's right.
Yeah. It was only one, but it was good. And secondly, how did you not stop running? Like, I started running when I saw that. I'm thinking, well, why did you stop? Like, I would have ran all the way home. Like, that's where I get the toughest part right here, the very beginning. Tell me how you stood overnight, because, dude, I'm going. I'd be home. I changed careers.
I lived 4.5 hours from college. I had no car. So if I run home, it'll be a few weeks worth. And I was, but not that he's walking with then. Here's the reason why I stayed. And I guess you have to look at each individual person's background and who they are as a person. You know, my grandfather fought World War II. My uncle fought in Vietnam. My grandparents were blue-collar folks. They worked in factories, carried boxes, mixed paint. I got to go to college. I was going to college. It wasn't like today where you get a loan you can't pay back and you go to college. Back then, you went to college for something special. And I got a partial scholarship for running. So people were looking at me saying, you're the one. You're going to be good someday. Make something of yourself. You know, and so for me, it was the family honor. It was family honor, you know, especially the Italian family. You know, it's the name you carry.
You got to do it. You got to do it. Yeah, I know that.
My dad says, I give you one thing, my name, use it well. You know, and so I didn't want to quit college. And I wasn't in the trenches of Vietnam. I wasn't getting malaria in the Philippines. Just this thing in the room. I didn't know how to explain to people how scary it was, because back then we didn't talk about those things. It was the occult. So I said, you know what? I got no choice. This is my road I'm on. I'm going to stay in school, make my grandparents and parents proud. I'm their future in their eyes. Some pressure, but I accepted it. I was a good runner, and I'm going to see what I can do. And luckily for me, John Jeff Unger, my friend next door to me, was concerned about both my health and what was going on, and he became my rock, basically. You know, he began to keep a journal every day for months of what I was seeing and hearing, like every single day. It was like 50, 60 pages a month, and he was the kind of person that thought, well, I don't know what this is, but it's fascinating, and you're acting as something. This is a sincere reaction, so what is it? And I thank him for being there, because if he wasn't, I know what would have happened. And so all the things that happened in the past for me that have been very good with the sci-fi show and things like that are because people believing in me and putting trust in me. You know, that I was speaking the truth, that I was caring about their own feelings. And I think the fact that I was a nice person, knock on wood, because I was raised with good manners and things, helped me survive, because people then were nice back to me. And when the things got tough, people say either I'm out of here or I'm with you. And you never know until it hits the fan. I mean, people can put on a good face, but when the tough things get going, then you find out who really is brave. And sometimes it's not you think. The tough dude with the muscles might run out of the room. The look in the corner might go, I'll save you. So I like the fact that I get to see my friends, who they were, and for me, for who I was. I was a nationally ranked runner, but I saw that thing and I was scared. I was out of my league. I was fearful. I needed someone with me at that moment to take me through it.
Yeah, you got balls. I mean, that's just being honest. Like, to stay there like that. I mean, and to have a friend like that, he's like top notch. Like, that's the guy you want, and especially somebody who takes notes. So anytime you get somebody who takes notes, you just won life. You to get to have a guy who takes notes.
Yes,
you know, not that you won. That was a good thing. I'm just saying he helped. But all right, so take us through there from there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so by the second night, I'm seeing this thing in my room, and I said, Jeff, do me a favor, write down what I'm seeing, if you don't mind. And he agreed to. I don't know what's happening, if there's drugs in my food, if it's a gas leak in my room, if it's mass hysteria, if it's hypnosis, if it's a practical joke. All I know is that something is not right, and I can't function in this environment, and I need help with this. And I ran marathons when I was 14 years old, and a marathon, you're on your own for 26 miles. You're on your own. So you have to control your environment. You're pacing, right? Your water intake, the carbohydrate before, your training, everything's about controlling your environment. I can't control my environment. I needed help. So he would help me analyze things. I would see this thing at what time of night was it? What was the temperature outside? Did it rain that day? What after dinner? We get to isolate variables to see. We realize there's no gas leak. There's no practical joke. There's no mass hysteria. One thing was left after about 2 weeks, the paranormal. And he was kind of enthused by that because this is pretty cool. You know, as a kid, you want things to happen. You want to believe in the Bigfoot and Nessie, and you want to believe in UFOs and vampires. And you get older, you think, I don't know if that's real or not. So this is cool for him to think, wait a second, maybe there's something more to life than just the mundane. Punch the clock, go home, punch the clock, go home, and that's it. So he thought it'd be kind of cool to figure out what's going on around me. And I was very thankful for that, you know. Again, I owe him a lot, Jeff. He's a great guy.
Wow. So I don't want things to happen, for the record. I'm going to state just that for me. I never have, never would want to. No, I never wanted as a kid. Never thought of those things. I would hunt Bigfoot. I've said that a couple of times,
right.
But I never wanted any of that other stuff, just in case anything's thinking about anything out there.
Yeah, it's out there now. I'm good.
Yeah, please continue, though. Please tell me, because I know it gets when it fast forwards to the shower part.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely terrified. Like, I don't want to.
Chris, can I ask a one question that I was hoping you could clarify? I know. So I listened to a couple of these other things you mentioned. I think you originally roomed with someone named Paul.
That's right.
And Paul could see this. Like you mentioned a couple from a couple of things. Paul could see it.
Yes.
The pillow tug.
Yeah. Could Jeff actually see it, or is he? Because I know when you, and I'm just going by the story.
Yeah, that's right.
I know when he wanted to take a picture, he couldn't see it. You had to. Right. You were kind of. But were there times where he did actually see it and feel it, or is he just not able to?
I will answer for him as best I can because this is his perspective. I always assumed he knew what was going on. He always had this composure about himself, like I got this. Yeah. He told me years later he was terrified. He didn't want to make me scared too. So he was like putting on this face of like, I got this. Meanwhile, his hands were shaking. Like, I never knew that. He doesn't claim to ever remember seeing the ghost per se, like a form, but he saw things in the room move. He saw like sparks of energy. He saw impressions on the bed. He saw like my shirt pushed back. I mean, he saw the effects of this thing, doors open, but not the actual thing, which he actually probably, I think he appreciates not having to see those things because probably would have traumatized me. So and interesting how people can look at the same moment and have different experience from the same moment. And I use the analogy of the Red Sox and the Yankees because it's a long rivalry, right? And let's say they're playing at Fenway Park, right? And let's say the Red Sox win 4-3. That's a score, correct? You remain unaffected by that. But a Red Sox fan says it's a good game, and here's why. Yankees fan says it's a terrible game, and here's why. So you can say the same thing at the same moment and disagree on what it means, how it's good or bad, and have a fight over it. And so I use an example because, and if the paranormal, you see less clearly, you hear less clearly. So it's even more likely to have a confusion as to what you're seeing and feeling, which, like you're saying before, both of you, about taking notes is important. To record data, not just emotions or feelings. So, and Paul, I have to give him credit. He stayed for about almost a month of this haunting. It got too much from there. I remember the key moment for him, he left because I was lying in we had a loft, which is like a little treehouse inside to make more room for ourselves. We were up by the ceiling. And I remember I was lying in bed and my pillow went out from under my head, just like ripped out from under my head. I'm like, what the heck? Like, so I pulled it and I looked and it's in the air, like levitating. I'm like, no way. This is like a big moment. So Paul was sleeping. Paul, wake up. No. Paul, wake up. So I pulled in the pillow and I couldn't move it. So I wrapped my foot around the mattress like this, and I'm trying to like a squat, like trying to pull the pillow back toward me. And I yelled, I said, Paul, if you're my friend, you will look right now. I don't want to look. You will look right now. So he looked, he goes, oh my God. And he saw me with this thing in the air and he goes, no one should have to see that ever again. And so he left shortly after that. He left. He said, no offense to you. I care about you. I just can't deal with the craziness. He claimed the ghost was telling him, leave me alone. He talked, the ghost would like tell him, leave me alone and things like that. So he was out. I don't blame him. I think if I lived an hour away and I could go home on the weekends, I would. And I think if I wasn't the prime person, the prime target, I might say, well, you know, buddy, I care about you, but I'm going to just take a little breather over here. So I have no bad feelings for him. He was there for quite a time, and I respect him. And I hear he's doing pretty well with his life. I'm proud of him. Good friend always.
Yeah.
Now, listen, you might have a sister or brother you can't live with. It's allowed, you know.
I think after a while, maybe it wears you down. I mean, because it's like you wake up and your roommate's like, handling Thor's hammer, but it's a pillow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what the freak is going on right now? I'd be like, yeah, after a couple of those, I think I gotta go. I think I gotta.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, he stuck it in for a while, so I give him credit
over a
for
month.
that. So he leaves, and then you're alone, right?
I'm alone, but luckily Jeff decides to help out. Jeff says, "I'll move in with you," because now Jeff's involved in this. Now he's taking the notes, taking photographs and things. Now he's fully invested. What better way to get you more invested? Actually, be in the room all the time with the ghost boy who this thing talks to. So for him, it was a choice to make for my concern for my health and well-being. He can't be by himself in that room, and because it fulfilled the need to say what's going on. And so again, Jeff, a smart thing in his part. I was pretty much an emotional wreck at that point because it would touch my neck at night and my feet when I'm sleeping and follow me around. And just, I don't listen, I ran for cross country for high school and college. You had these big gang showers. I didn't care being naked, but in that room, I get changed. The door would like open and look at me and like, oh, it was just different. I covered myself up and ran in the room. It was just different. It was just, you know how like you scratch your back, it feels okay. So it's even better. You know what I mean? Then they do it. It's just, it didn't feel right to me. It felt wrong. This thing felt like it was like stalking me and wanted to possess me or something. It's hard to explain with words, but it didn't feel right.
I actually have something similar to that, Chris. When I was in high school, I had swim class on 7th period, which was the last period of the day. And it would also be the last period on a Friday. So we would get out of school at 2:15, but at 2:00, they let the senior citizens come into the pool to get ready. So when we would come in from swim on a Friday, there would be naked old guy plenty walking around the locker room. And Genius Kev knows I'm right. And they are not ashamed or bashful about an inch. So I can tell you what it's like to be like, I know that feeling. Just a little different.
With the charge.
Just a little different. But it's true. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was like, and then we had like that sauna room, right, Kevin? We'd walk by like, don't look, because they were just like, no towel needed, spread wide eagle.
They're like, how you doing?
At least that was only 15 minutes a week. Yeah.
They did it every Friday. Oh, my bad. You continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
Oh boy. All right.
Gotta have fun. Well, I'm enjoying myself. So, Chris, please continue because I want to know what happened now you're alone. Now, it gets mean, right? You get the priest there. That's what happens. So that's the thing.
Yeah, that's
about the priest that where everyone goes to as a reason to get rid of a ghost. Does that mean that a ghost is religious? Like, I can't get help me with that connection.
I will share what I know. Again,
right.
This is not my. I didn't go into this with this on my mind. Obviously, it's foreign to me. So I had to learn on the job, basically. Yeah. It was Paul who said, following the pillow, who said, listen, we got to get someone to help us out. We need a priest. I'm like, okay. He goes, because this thing's going to kill us. I'm like, just don't say that. It's going to torture us. Don't say, we'll find our, be quiet. It'll hear you. It's like what you would say, It's like, stop. So we went the following morning and we went to the St. Mary's Church on Geneseo. And it looked like a mess, like it's a kind of drug party, but just happened. We didn't sleep the whole night, And the lady just wouldn't let the priest see us and things. But she gave us a phone number to Father Charlie Manning, who was the priest actually on the Interfaith Center on campus. We went to see him, and he said, I believe you. He read the notes. He looked at us over and said, I see the terror in your eyes. You're shaking. I'll help out. But some questions first. I said, okay. He goes, you guys doing drugs? I'm like, no, listen, I'm not accusing you, he said. It's just what you're writing here is very strange. And I can't help if you know what's going on. Right. If I have to rule out drinking and drugs and things like that. If I rule it out, I can't help you. If we rule those things out, we can go forward. And eventually ruled out there was the substance abuse, And so then he decided to come to the room on a Wednesday, 8:00 at night, and bless the room. I didn't know if it would have been an exorcism or a blessing or whatever they're called, but he came to the room, was kind of cool. He had his collar on, he had a big briefcase. He opened it up. He had these candles, this Bible, this thing of holy water, and we were in the room. It was crazy, but it wasn't like in the movies where like you have like fire and green goop and screaming. It was like this ceremony with this mist and years later he said to me, it's an amazing moment, with that power. It's such a strong feeling in there, whatever that thing was. And then it lasted maybe about 25 minutes, half an hour. And he said, we're good. And I looked at him and I said, can I get back in? And he goes, only if you invite him back in. I'm like, I won't invite him back in. We're good. So I thought it was over. I thought that was it. That was March 6th. 4 days later, I went for a long run, 10-mile run out in the alfalfa fields in Western New York. And I came back in the shower and I look up and I see a shadow over me. It looks like the ghost. I'm like, no, that can't be. The priest blessed the room and things. It must be an after effect. I rubbed my eyes. seeing things. Then it moved. I thought, oh no, really? And I went in the middle of the bathroom floor, and there's no one in the room. I thought, ghost is back. I'll turn the water off. There's no flood that way. And I called the priest back up again. Went back in the shower, turned the water off, and bang, that's what happened. I was lifted off my feet. I thought I was stabbed in the back, because when you stab with a knife, if you haven't stabbed with a knife, you don't feel it at first. It's a straight cut. So there's no nerves. But soon the pain comes. You got a little bit of time to act for you, because it just cuts the nerves at first. So I'm pushed against the wall. I'm thinking, I'm fighting. I don't care who this is. I'm fighting. So I turned. I punched as hard as I could punch. I tore the shower curtain down, and I looked. There was nobody. And I screamed. And I was like, who are you? What are you? Show yourself, you coward. Show yourself. Nothing. I heard the drip of the water. I looked in the mirror above the sink. There was no knife in my back. Instead, there were these 3 roughly parallel scratches, bleeding. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I realized that guy's going to die. The guy in the mirror, like on he's for the chop. And I thought, wait, that's me. Why am I for the chop? I didn't do anything wrong. Why am I being punished in this way? I can't touch it. I'm like, this is stupid. I have been a good kid. I really was. I went to my grandma's house for spaghetti. I cut her grass for her. I was a good student. I was nice to girls. I tried to be a good person best I could be. And this is my reward. It's hard. I remember, I don't know if it was the trauma, the pain, the cold, or whatever it was. I fell on the ground on my face, just laid on the ground. And my vision was blurry. And all I could do was look at my wrist, because it's like on the ground like this. And I saw one drop of water, one little bead, pear-shaped, go back to your theme of pears, right? On my wrist. And I felt it was shining. I looked at that. I just looked, okay, that's a drop. I know what that is, a drop of water, focus. And then it fell. I'm like, whoa, my water. It's like kind of like Tom Hanks with that movie Castaway. In certain trauma, you sometimes associate yourself with an object, and it could be someone passed away, their cufflinks, things like that. Well, anyway, I said, wait a second. If the water falls, that's science called gravity. I looked down, and the grout on the floor with the tiles, the bathroom floor, was darkened. That's moisture. So the droplet of water fell because of gravity, and there's darkened now the floor because of moisture. This is all science. I'm not going crazy. I am seeing reality, but I can't do this. I can't every day put my brain back together again, piece to piece. I'm going to get tired. I'm going to get weak. I'm going to lose. It's going to win. I don't want to die, but I can't live this way anymore. I just want to find some place in the forest, a cool rock, and go to sleep. And I tell myself, don't make a face, because mom will sit in the casket. Make a nice face for mom in the casket. Just breathe. I was ready to die. I didn't want to, but I was preparing myself to die. And then at that point in time, Jeff, hearing my screaming, he opened the bathroom door and came in and found me on the ground all bloody, And then Beth came in, and then Ed came in. They found me, and they put me in a different room, and we're going to the hospital. I'm like, I am not going to the hospital, because I know what happened. Oh, he's hearing things, he's seeing things, he's hurting himself. The last thing I'm doing is having myself constrained or restrained or drugged with a thing coming to get me again. No way. And I'll fight you guys, which is like typical reaction to intervention, right? He's lost it. And I felt bad about that, but I had to fight for my own perspective, for my own reality. And then, instead of the hospital, we got some cotton balls, some peroxide, some tape, and some Band-Aids. And for 47 minutes, it was peroxide, cotton ball, Band-Aid, 5 seconds. I rather the pain of that than going to the hospital and being judged or questioned or ridiculed, because I knew in my mind of minds I was right, even if I couldn't prove it. That was and the most compelling part for me was Jeff had his camera, and Jeff said, "Oh, the light is fading outside the window. I want a picture of your back so we have this for the record." And I said to him, "Jeff, I don't want this. I don't want a memory of this. If you're my friend, you won't take that picture." So it's not about friends. I want to take the picture because Jeff, please. If you're my friend, you won't take the picture. I need a friend right now, not the ghost boy. And he did. I'm your friend. He put the camera down. I knew in that moment that he was there for me first, and not for the story, not for the moment. And for me, that was like blood brothers. That was the moment where I said, whatever you need, whatever you are, I'll always be there for you, because we're like this now, because I know you care about me first. Looking back, it's been a real cool picture. But at the moment, though, you know what I mean? I just need to make the comfort. Home. Yeah, I did. I just needed someone to say you're okay. It was rough.
Well, you know what? Look, though I disagree with staying, period, at all. Like, it's very admirable the way you refuse to give in. Like the whole FU attitude, I appreciate so much in every aspect of life. And you have that's how you handle this. Like you
Yes.
you just didn't want to let it win. Like F you, why should I let you win? That's kind of the whole attitude I heard in my head when I would like read what happened to you or listen, and that's how you come off. Like you don't want to give in to something like that.
If you fail, you're stupid. If you succeed, you're brave.
And you try,
Chris. So one of the things that I'm thinking about with this part of this part of the episode, it sounds like that was probably the most violent act, or at least that I heard you kind of recount. Was there anything like that before the blessing? Do we think like is there any? And Buddy, you might know this. Like, is there anything? Is there like a common thing where maybe after a blessing they come back with like more sort of force or vengeance?
Honestly, after an investigation, we always tell the client that the activity could like ramp up significantly. It's just maybe it's a reaction. Maybe they don't. Maybe the priest was just antagonized the spirit more, and then the spirit was lashing out. I can't say for sure 100%, but I mean it's always a possibility. Anything's really a possibility.
And a priest is an outsider. I mean, maybe you invite someone in, but it's still an outside to that relationship, whatever the relationship is. And so here's this thing potentially that says, if you can hear me and you can see me, I want your attention. Now, what do? I move to get rid of it. I pull the priest in, send it away. And the priest said, I am here to have that thing find rest someplace else. Now, here's the thing. It seemed to respect the priest's boundaries. It didn't go in my room for the most part. It stayed out, like the priest asked it to, which is kind of curious, right? But it seemed to also get very angry about that. Like, how dare you? Okay, you bring this priest in, I can't go in there now, and now I'm angry at you. And then once the room was blessed, he began to attack me. He held Linda down in her bed. He attacked Beth, knocked her unconscious. The attacks began more and more and more and more. We had a suicide. So I think that the ghost wanted to say, I'm not going anywhere. I'll respect the priest's blessing for whatever reason, but I'm not going anywhere. And he attacks my friends. What do? I go to them. So constantly attack my friends or bother them. I'd have to go to the room and talk to them again. So I was outclassed and outthought every step of the way by this thing. It was like going to a gunfight with a knife. It was really scary, and I don't know how those things work. Honestly, I don't study these things, which is good though, because my perspective was fresh. And I was like, looking back, I'm glad I wasn't a paranormal expert, because I would have had all these theories and things the whole way, would have guided me, and it could have been false theories, might have been wrong. Like, it could have been a kid who hung himself in the closet. It could have been I didn't know. So I think having a clean slate allowed me to pursue things objectively. You might have the right answer all the time, and that gave people around me the chance to say, okay, well, there's no agenda here. What's actually happening? I think that's good. So while it was bad, it happened almost 40 years ago, with no lack of evidence and things. We only have a couple pictures, like in the back there on the wall and things, but we didn't have any camcorders. But at the same time, there was no interference. We didn't have 8 people saying, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. Just 2-3 people looking for the truth in a bubble. So there's no outside influence to persuade us. So in that way, it was probably a good thing. But yeah, I think it got very violent after the priest blessing. But you can't have the priest bless 10 rooms. He was nervous in the first place. The college is a public property. It's a state property. You can't really do ceremonies of religious nature on the state property. So doing one blessing, he said he came to fix the stereo. He was in disguise, but you can't have him bless 15, 20 rooms. Just not functional. Bless that one, bless this. There's no point in that. So I didn't call him back to say, bless more rooms, because that didn't seem like the answer to me. So instead we went science. And there was a parapsychologist, a science teacher named Dr. Lawrence Kastler, who wrote books and novels and things and trade paperbacks and memoirs about ghosts and stuff. So we went to him. And he's the one that said to us, get evidence. Get a tape recorder, record this thing's voice, get photographed, take its picture, do all these things to see what the evidence is, and follow that road. And Jeff liked that because that's right up his alley, So he encouraged Jeff to, and he was funny, the parapsychologist, the professor. He said, I go over the country looking for stories in my backyard. Here's one right here, right? Who would have guessed? He did those things with the Zener cards on me and stuff like that, with the wavy water and the circle and the triangle. You have to guess what he's doing. He tested me like crazy. That was kind of weird, but I get what he's doing. He wanted to see what the call was.
Yeah. Is that your mic? I keep hearing it.
Yeah, it might be.
Someone sounds like they're fushy, like scratching it up. Either that or it's a mic. And you have the foam Guns N' Roses mic top, I think.
Right.
So, Chris, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
So how was he hurting your friends? Like, what were the actions that were done to your friends?
Yes. We found Beth lying unconscious on the floor of her room. We were supposed to try to have this little party, a little smoke party, to relax things and have a nice time in college for a change. And she arranged it. And the party started and she wasn't there. And so Jeff and I said, let's go get her because we were close to her as a friend, And we got to her room and the door was like partially open. And I looked in, I saw her feet. That's it. I'm like, oh, geez, she's on the ground. I thought maybe her boyfriend beat her up or something like that, or she overdosed. Who knows? So I opened the door and we thought she was dead. So I said, Jeff, don't touch anything. Just because the police have to come here and take fingerprints. I know we got to her and she's unconscious. And I said, Beth, and she opened her eyes and she said, oh my God, what are you doing here? I'm like, I just got here. She said, oh, the ghost is crazy. She kept calling her name and I tried to hit it. And she's the ghost, got to her. It was crazy, knocked her unconscious. And then we have pictures of Linda being held under her bed. She couldn't leave.
Wait, she tried to hit it?
Yeah. Remember, this
is up with the people from your college?
This is before. This is before.
Away. No one runs away in these cars. They'll turn around and try to punch it.
We only had 2 ghosts. We had 2 ghosts back then. Casper was friendly, and Jesus put his hand through his holes. Jesus, that's all we had. So we didn't know any better. It wasn't like today. We didn't know.
He's telling the story, Kev, as if it's no big deal. He's like, I got to punch it.
Yeah.
I couldn't hit either. I couldn't hit the damn thing. I couldn't do it.
All right. Jeez, no one thinks that's weird? They try to punch the ghost?
I wouldn't advise it to anybody today. But hey, listen, people are people, And she had been a friend of mine for a long time. I think she thought maybe it's going to try to get me, so she get rid of her. Who knows? I don't know how those things work. Linda had the opposite reaction. She was held under her bed. She couldn't move. She called for us, and we tried to get the thing off her body. We had a friend named Brian who got on his leg. It looked at his leg. And he's screaming, "Get off my leg! Off my leg!" We had to pull the damn thing off his leg best we could. Try to talk to it, coax it off. So it was weird. I called it Hell Week because for a whole week it began to attack people. It was just relentlessly.
How are you pulling it off? Help me with that. You're pulling it off. What do you mean by that? How are you pulling something? Well,
Jeff has studied these things while we're doing these things. Jeff's reading books in the library about all these things. He's reading all books from like Edgar Cayce and stuff like that, and all things. And he thought that it goes for energy, perhaps, or energy. Yeah. And so he said maybe if you try to pull the energy towards you. And so in my room when the ghost was there, we actually put our hands out. The ghost would actually go in our hands. We didn't put our hands there. We actually go there and drain our energy, but get all cold and it form more. So we knew it like energy. So if you offer yourself to it temporarily, it'd go on to you instead. It was bizarre. It's kind of like a puppy who wants to be loved, Yeah. Again, like this probably sounds bizarre, right? No. We didn't know right from wrong. Yeah. We didn't know good or bad. We were just in over our heads. We had no idea what we were doing. Just trying to be the best we could. We were teenagers,
You talked it on.
What's that?
You talked it on, Chris. Like you pulled it, and what you talked?
Yes, come with me. Yes, you want me? Leave him alone. Leave her alone. Come with me. Make a problem. If you leave her now, I'll talk to you in an hour. I'll come back in an hour and I'll talk to you. You can't. And then eventually let go. Wow. So it would respond to me. It didn't understand what I was saying. And that's the problem I had is that people saw this procedure. They would see me talk, and the thing would react to me, and the thing, like it'd move, and the curtain would shake as it went out the window. Like, I can't leave, like you said, And people thought I was the ghost whisperer. They would say, "I am the ghost boy," and then they thought I controlled it, or I had conversations about the paranormal with it, about Christmas card times, like we were friends. That the whole legend being, I was a ghost. I used to run and throw things in it mostly, but people saw it and said, "Oh my God, this is like this relationship. He controls this ghost."
Because it is weird. They're acting like you are the one that contributed the ghost. Like you're like, here's the ghost.
My ghost. I can't. I'm alive here. My ghost. I'm still here. It can't by definition be my ghost. If I get what you're saying, right? It was a very confusing time.
So that is really confusing because you know what I mean. Like, and the roommates stayed, right? They all stayed, right?
They lived in different parts of the dorm. So most of them, my friends, lived in different parts. So. But yeah, I was the ghost boy because it was my ghost. I'm like, your ghost is doing bad things again. I'm like, it's not my ghost. What was I do? I can't stop it.
Unbelievable.
And so then
you were opening up. You were opening up. Like you were, whatever you have was just opening up like this right at that moment. It had to be. Yeah. You had it sounds weird, but as you tell the story, I kind of contribute the ghost to you in a little bit. Like I keep thinking that Chris opened something up that even gave this a chance to come down. Like, do you know what I mean? Is he that? But then
Captain Crunch, I ate that. Open that up.
Yeah, like what did you do? Poke something? You know what I mean? Like it popped a hole. I'm just trying to figure out like what because it started. It seems after that lecture.
Right? Well, I can tell you when I was a little kid, when I was a small child, my great grandpa passed away. My great grandfather. And I was playing ball in the backyard, wiffle bat, the red one with the ball. I hit it like that, pretend I was Babe Ruth or something like that, right? I hit the ball one time when I was a little kid. I ran out of the house. I picked the ball up, and my grandpa was there, who had passed away. And I'm like, I saw my grandpa's ghost once, and he went, wow. Shh. So I said, you know what? I'm not, don't say anything. So I never told anybody. So in the haunting, I realized, like goosebumps now, oh my God, when I was a kid, I saw my great grandpa's ghost. But he said to me, don't say anything. So I just kind of put it back in my head. That's why I didn't pursue these things ever, even though in my back of my mind, I knew something could be possible. So that might have played a role in my thought process too, but not directly. I remember that during the haunting.
So Chris, it sounds like that part of your life, like during this time where it's getting violent, it's bothering Beth, it's you said Linda, you obviously, Jeff's trying to record all this stuff. Where's your mental state? Like I think it sounds like the most stressful weeks you could possibly have, because you're trying to deal with something that's not even like a life problem. Like I hit my car on the curb today. I think I have to replace a tire, and I'm all stressed out. I was all pissed off. You're dealing with a ghost who's attacking your friends. Yeah,
well, I told you about Hell Week. I began to attack everybody. That's the week I said to my friends, listen, I had to call my dad. What? I had to call my dad. He's a science teacher. Doesn't believe in this nonsense, but I'm not doing well. I stopped running. I'm failing my classes. Like I'm falling apart. And my dad's my dad. I mean, he's what I have. He taught me how to do things as a kid, and so I got to go back to him. I'm embarrassed to call him, so I called him on the phone and said, listen, Dad, I'm sorry, but something's going on, and he agreed to come up to the college and see what's happening. And this is not an exaggeration or a lie. He brought with him a pistol. He brought with him a baseball bat and holy water and a cross from my great grandma. So he's ready for any damn thing. His name is Vito, by the way. Vito.
I was going to say.
And he said to me, whatever's here goes to me. He goes, Chris, you go to. I didn't stop the whole night in like 2 months. He goes, you go to sleep. I'm here now. I'll find what's going on in this damn place, right? That's what happened. And so I was very proud of him. But he said, I lost 20 pounds in like 5 weeks. I was thin to begin with. He looked like as emaciated. He knew what was wrong with me, Anyway, so I woke up in the morning. He hadn't slept the whole night. Say, let's go for a jog, you and me. So we went for a jog. It was dawn. There was still some moisture on the leaves. We just ran and ran. Didn't say a word. Just ran for like 3 miles. Just father and son, just in silence.
Vito can still run.
He still runs today. He's 74 years old, still runs. He's an amazing dude. Well, anyway, we got back to my room, and he goes, listen, I'm here for your mom's here for you. Do yourself a favor, change your room. I'm like, wait, he goes, change your room. That was it, change it. Man, so another thing we don't say. So something happened. He didn't tell me. I didn't find out what he saw until the sci-fi show came out 27 years later. He didn't want to scare me, but then he revealed there was someone in the closet. The closet opened up. He saw the figure in there and things like that. But I couldn't change my room because we were only about 3 weeks to the end of the semester, and I can't just change it. Plus, if I left the room, somebody goes in there, it's like, who knows what's going to happen to them? You know how that works. And I decided, you know what? I'm taking care of myself. I'm taking care of my dad's right. It's up to me. I'm going to take care of this. So I decided it was April 13th. I'm going to take care of myself. I went in the bathroom, took a shower. I was attacked. I was usually taking showers in the gym because I was scared of that shower. But on that, because I've been attacked there. But on that night, I went back in that shower for the first time. I showered there, just like a rite of passage. Like, this is my shower. You know what I mean? I walked into my bedroom, just butt-ass naked, just me, the way God made me. I said, that's it. You and me were talking. I'm breaking the blessing. I lit a candle. We're doing this now. No more suicides. No more attacks. I don't care what's going on. We're talking right now. I won't do it again. And I got on my hands and knees. I said a prayer. I said, Our Father. I stood up and I saw the shadow on the wall. Here it comes. I'm like, then I thought, what am I doing? This is so crazy. Sometimes you're brave when you talk about it. But in the moment, you're like, what am I, stupid? I just think it attacked me, right? So I remember in soccer, your hips show your movement, your direction, not your legs. So I have my hips toward the door just in case. Just in case you attack me. I'm ready to go to the door, ready to bolt, And I saw it just right in front of me, clear as day. And it was like so sad. It looked like it was crying. I never seen anything so sad before. I wanted to hate it, and I couldn't hate it. And I said, why are you here? What are you doing? And he said, I can't do the voice. I can't do it. But he said, made mistake. So much pain. And I thought, okay, wait a second. I didn't expect this. I thought it'd be mean and evil, and this thing's suffering. And I know I'm suffering too, but maybe if I stop him from suffering, I will stop suffering too, and my friends will as well. Maybe I can get, just do the whole shebang, And so I said, listen, I will try to help you. And here's what I will say to you. You have to find rest. Whatever you did wrong, whatever you're in pain about can be forgiven. There's always love. And there's always someone who will love you. So listen to my words very carefully. You need to find rest. You can't stay here. He put his hand out, and I wouldn't take his hand. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I know what that meant. It was going to possess me. I didn't trust it yet, but I was getting to it a little bit. I could see he was thinking about my words. Listen, I'm helping you. I won't do this again. You need to find rest. I'm going to count to 10. When I get to 10, you can't be here. Whew. I close my eyes. 1001, 1000, and the whole time waiting for the attack to come. I'm waiting to push back or attack, but I figure this is my chance because at least it knows I'm honest. I'm in there, no power tie, no fancy shoes, just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm being honest for my soul. And I hope this thing understands that. I hope that being dead or in a spirit form, he knows it's not a game. This is everything I've got 100%. It's all me, my whole soul with him, right? And I got to 10, opened my eyes, gone. I didn't tell anybody. Waited for a few days. People saying, hey, where's the ghost? Where's the ghost? By the third day, I realized it must be gone because no one saw it, no one heard it, done. Then I shared with them a couple days later what I had done. They're like, what's incredible? But, you know, it came out of the blue the first time. You know, so who knows if it really worked per se. It seemed to have worked. I finished the semester out. You know, I went back to college next year across the campus. Never by that room. You know, I did my best, whether I passed or failed that test. It seemed to work, though. I went back 25 years later. We had a little reunion and stuff, and wow. I asked people, has there been other incidents? And for the most part, it's very quiet. So I think, hope I help put that thing to rest, and the pain is over, and the suffering is over, and I guess I'll know when I'm gone, right? When it's my turn to go. But but I tell you the truth, I was very flawed. I was very young, very naive, very ignorant, but I meant well. I honestly meant well, and I hope whatever actions I took were positive for that thing. And I'm very grateful for my friends to see me through those moments. I'm very grateful for people to listen to my experience and think about their own lives. I feel blessed in that way. So I wish it never happened, but I feel so blessed to be able to be here, like with you right now, for example, sharing this experience.
It's unbelievable, and it's because it's like it almost like it taught you a lesson that to not think about yourself, to think about somebody else first, because that is the hardest thing in life, to think about others before yourself. And once you felt that it wasn't hateful and that it needed maybe empathy or sympathy, I think that did change everything. And man, that's amazing that you know, there's two parts to me. There's one part I think is absolutely amazing that you had it come down and actually talk to you and get, hash it out. And then there's the other half that goes, why did you do that like 6 months ago? Like, why didn't you call him out that, like 6 months ago? Because I can't believe you did that. Like,
I never thought about it.
Somewhat powerful, right? That you were able to do that, that you stand your ground and make him come down.
You know what it is? It's like having a family. You might have a brother or sister in your family. You might beat them all the time. You might beat them up, have fight, wrestle back and forth. But no one touches my brother but me.
Yep.
I'll beat the crap out of him. But
I know that.
You're my brother. And I think it began to attack my friends. I felt bad about that. But wait a second. Now it's their problem. It shouldn't be. I didn't want to be but it's worse. So I got to do something because it's hurting my friends. And if I done something right in the first place, it wouldn't. So I think seeing them suffer too, it changed how I thought. So you know what? Then I'm just doing this. I'm going into school. I'm fighting that bully. You know, I think that's what it was. I was ready for a fight, but didn't want to fight. I just wanted to be heard, wanted to be seen, wanted to be talked to, and I feel bad about it. I didn't have K2 meters. I didn't have spectral photography. I didn't have, psychics with me. I just was some dude, and I just wanted to listen to my music and play baseball. And I wish I'd found somebody else, but maybe that was the right thing to happen. Maybe because I didn't have any preset notions or I didn't have any agenda. Maybe that was the best thing. And maybe God wasn't punishing me. Maybe that was a way of him saying, hey, listen, here's something for you to do. Do the right thing now. Prove to me. And I don't know. It's all rationalization. But I'm so thankful. I really am. And I never would have thought in a million years that the worst time of my life, by far, is celebrated. I mean, of all the things I did, I ran marathons, I met presidents, I did so many cool things, and the one thing I couldn't stand is on TV and in movies and books. I'm like, how does it even work? But I learned something from Leonard Nimoy. Spock. Remember, he was Spock in that TV show. He's a great actor, right? He wrote a book saying, I am not Spock. People are like, boo, hiss.
Yeah. Why would you say that?
They want him to be that. So I realized people need the Ghost Boy. They want to hear this. They want to hear about this part, not about my running, not about this I draw, about what happened then. So I wrote, you know what? A good person listens. If that way to share it, then I will share it best I can. And if people find value in it, I will do that. And my great-grandma, love her, told me when I was 4 years old in her garden, that flowers are like children. If you feed them and talk to them, they grow big and strong. Simple lesson in life, be kind to others. So I think my great-grandma saying it to me, having good friends like Jeff, I think My dad being a strong individual who believed in me, all those things are more important than me in surviving that experience. And I was just wise enough to listen, wise enough to appreciate. Life goes by fast. I was thinking about Heather, that everybody think about Heather, life goes by fast. You have to hold on to every second you have because boom, and we keep people alive in our hearts and our souls and our minds, right? That's what we do. That's all we can do. And it makes us better people, and so when we're in need, people reach out to us. When people need our help, we're there for them. And that's the human experience. I don't care about D or R, Republican, Democrat. I don't care about male or female, old. I don't care about stuff. The human experience is too important to separate ourselves over stupid names and just labels. It really is.
I agree.
When push comes to shove, we sleep, we cry, we laugh, we dream, we hope, we fear. We're not that different. We just want to feel different to make us feel special. But we're people, and thank God for that.
So, Chris, that's amazing. I completely agree with all that. And it's like Mike said, like the sort of experience seems to have brought a lot of that out. But one of the things that I'm kind of curious about, I would assume that if I were going through something like this, and I discovered your story, I would probably want to reach out to you and like, to help me get through what I was going through, assuming I had a similar experience. Does that happen to you?
Yeah, it does, and I'm honored by that. I don't usually do those things because I'm like a one-off event. I don't usually ghost hunt that much. I don't usually do these things. I just I had my fill. People look for what I've had. I mean, people spend 40 years trying to find an apparition they can see or talk to. I had mine when I was a teenager by mistake. So what they're looking for, I found. I lived it. I survived it. I'm better off for it. I'm satisfied. I'm that kind of person. I must do more. I must find more. But people do reach out to me for help. If I can help them verbally, I will do so with advice and things. But I usually refer people to actual other groups and things with help with hauntings, unless I feel that there's a particular thing I know I can help with. I'm careful because people put trust in you, in your words. They give you credit for your actions. Yeah. I don't hurt anybody. I've seen people get hurt before, so I'm very careful what I do, what I say. And if I feel I can help, I always will. If I'm not sure if I can, I'll find somebody who I think is credible or nice or decent and pass it to them instead.
See, now, Kev, I can actually answer that question for him because he's not a bullshit artist. And because I'm pretty good at listening to people know this. I mean, I hate to say this, but Italians, we consider ourselves really good bullshit artist people.
I've seen that.
And of course, a lot of people ask him questions because you can kind of tell he's telling the truth. So yeah, that's the guy that I would ask. Second, Chris, you believe in the Malak, like the Malak?
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right. You wear the horn, like in the Malak symbol.
It's an Italian thing, yes.
My son has them on right now. He wears the Italian horn, and every now and then I bought him the Malak, and then Saint Anthony because that's for lost stuff, and Saint Michael. I don't know why. All right, sorry. Yeah. So you do believe you didn't think to go to the Malak symbol or try that out at all? Because that's religious and Italian.
I had no faith in my ability to get those things correctly. I told you, I was a runner. I ran far and fast. I was a great runner. That's what I did. I like to laugh, eat ice cream, dance, hang around people. I was not simple meaning stupid. I was just a very basic person. I liked being alive. I was the kind of person I just would have fun wherever I went. And this thing, let me tell you something, threw me for a loop, and
it's I don't know. It's crazy. And Chris, you grew up at a time where cross country was popular.
Yes, true. Bill Rogers, Great Advice. Yes.
Yeah, one little group. You're probably maybe one graduating class before me. You're like my brother's brother is graduating class, whereas like cross country was huge back then. I remember I was no good at it. I would hide out and go. Me and Chris Lombardi would cut right through the neighborhood and fake it. And we would come in like first, but we just didn't want to be last. And I didn't want to run.
Rosie Ruiz.
I'm sorry. But yeah, cross country was huge back then. It's unbelievable that you were good at it.
It was. I didn't know I was. My dad told me I was good at it. I was kind of lazy as a kid, and my dad said, "Go run." I don't want to run. You got to stick and chase me with the stick. And I was 11 years old. And I ran 18 minutes for 3 miles. He goes, "You ran high school time. You're 11 years old." So my dad proved to me I had a skill and talent. So my dad was cool then. It was like, I didn't like him at first. You're mean to me, but actually, you know what? Now you're cool because it worked. That's how life is, right? And I respect him like this. And that's why I turned him during the hauntings. I respected him. I respected that his wisdom and knowledge would help me out
I'll tell you, I lost my dad in 07, and whenever I have a thought of like, Jesus, how do I fix this? I still go for the phone call my dad to this day. Because he knows everything. Like I could call my dad with like Italian dad, like electricity, the plumbing, the rooms coming apart. Doesn't matter. I call my dad. He goes, "Hold on, I'll get my tools." Then he goes like, one of the uncles. They come over, bing, bang, boom, fixed.
Yes, that's right.
I miss that, man. I don't get that go-to guy because they know stuff. They just do. They just do.
But you appreciate him. But you appreciate him. That's nice.
God.
And I love how when your dad got in the car to drive to the college, he brought a bat, a gun, holy water.
Yes.
Garlic, he brought everything. He was ready.
He drove that 4.5 hours in 3.5 hours.
Did he bring any lime? Did he bring any lime to bury it?
I don't remember. No, I don't.
That would be great. I got the lime.
Take the trunk.
This is the block. I dug.
I have a question.
I'm sorry, ghost fellas. My bad. All right. All right, go ahead, buddy.
You said years later you found out more about who the spirit might have been, or there might have been something in more in depth about it.
Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely. The sci-fi show was interesting because the first time I actually went public in a big way with my experience, and so that was kind of changing for me. And the question was during the filming was, well, who's this ghost then? Because they always do. Something happens. You talk in front of the actors. At the end, the expert comes on and says, "This is the ghost of this person." They couldn't do that for my episode because no one knew. I didn't want to know. By coincidence, my mother was doing genealogy. She retired. My mom retired from her job. Was doing genealogy. She said, that my great ancestor, going back 7 generations, fought in the Revolutionary War for Pennsylvania. I'm like, that's cool. And they found some dude by your college. His name was Tommy. We called the ghost Tommy. Yeah, he died right by your college. And isn't that weird? And when I talked to the ghost at that last conversation, I asked him where he was from. So I wanted to know where he was from. And he said, Danville. And my mom goes, "Oh, this kid Tommy, he's from Danville, Pennsylvania." I'm like, Danville? We got the notes out from 35 years ago. Danville. We found out how he's killed and matched the wounds in the body. I'm like, holy cow. It blew my mind that my ancestors found his body in 1792, a mile from the college that wasn't there, obviously, then 100 years later, that I run by in cross-country practice every day. So maybe the Warrens brought him. Maybe I ran by his tree. Maybe he heard my voice. Maybe there's so many weird things, His name, Thomas Boyd. Yeah, and what did he do? He made a mistake. He went into an area, was told not to go in there. He was ambushed, and he was tortured and killed. He was warned against it. He made a mistake. So much pain. He died tragically and horribly in a tortured way at the torture tree. So everything he said made sense, but I didn't understand what he was saying. It took 27 years to figure out. Got it. And so I tell people, please be cautious with your conclusions. I was with this thing for 3 months every day. We studied it for 30 years. It took almost that long to figure out who even was. So don't walk in somebody and say, Abraham Lincoln, FDR. It's not that easy, life, even in real life. So just be cautious. Don't have a theory and prove your theory. Look at the facts. Look at the details. Then over time, develop what you think the reality is. That's very important to do because you say face that way. You don't want to get on Facebook and say, well, this is the truth. Then you're wrong. And people think, well, what do I trust you for? Best to say, listen, when you don't know, I don't know. That's fair, right?
Was he stuck? Was he kind of stuck there, though, like in the sense that he needed to just get someone to acknowledge what he went through? Was that what it was? He just needed like some empathy or sympathy? Is that what he needed?
At the time, when I was there, Mike, I would have said he was evil, ambitious, and nasty. Now I would tell you he was desperate and fearful and alone. And I really think he needed somebody to say to him, it's okay. You can be forgiven. There's still love. Trust me. Let go. I think you need to hear those words. I really do. I think you need to hear those words. And they're simple words, but they're very powerful. And if you say them right, I think it makes a difference.
I know this. When my dad was when my dad was towards the last day or so, he continued to fight. My mom actually went up to the bed and she told my dad it was okay, that we were all okay, that he could go. Yeah. He passed away pretty much right after that. It's like, how the hell did he hear it? Because he wasn't supposed to be able to hear anybody. But it's like once she put him at ease, he went on. So like maybe he needed you to do that, right? He needed to help put him at ease.
That's
like
the theory, right? That's the theory. The theory is that most
seems like that, at least, right?
Can't quite leave yet, right? And they can't make a choice on things. So that's the theory. I can't prove it to you or not. It's just that's what people think, and it seems to be accurate from my experience. So a lot of things we won't know until we can't tell anybody. That's just the way it works, and that's okay. It's like going to your first concert. What's going to happen? I don't know where we're going. This will be fun, So you go to 20 concerts, like it's a concert, but the first concert's like, ooh. So sometimes mystery is cool. We don't like it, we're not comfortable, but sometimes mystery is the coolest thing. It's something to look forward to, something different.
Yeah.
It's like falling in love the first time. It can be cool, It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Just going back to what I've told these guys before, what I've told people for years now, it just kind of reminds me of what you said about like one of my first paranormal experiences. It happened to me at work. It was very scary. I was not expecting it. And when I finally broke down and told somebody after a few months, they told me, you just got to talk to them. Just tell them to knock it off. Just leave you alone. What do you mean talk to them? Just talk to them like that people. Just talk to them. And I did. And it stopped. And that's what I tell people now. Empower yourself. This is your house. Get the hell out of here. And I don't know. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But
it should work because, like people, if you have a situation at the grocery store with your neighbor or things like that, usually you talk it out. Not always, but
that's
sometimes
a hard pitch to sell, guys. That's a hard pitch to sell.
Sometimes you can.
You're going, look, if you gotta go, just tell her to leave. And people are going, what? And I get it. It works, but a lot of people right now, if they have ghost experience, you're going, just tell her to leave. They're like, yeah, just tell her to leave. I wish I could tell it just to leave. Like maybe they're not in a place to tell it to leave.
Well, it's like a promise. When you get married, you promise what? Not to stray. Some guys do. Some guys don't. That's how it works. So you got to hope the person you're talking with, whether alive or dead, knows what you're saying, understands the concept, and complies. Will it happen all the time? Absolutely not. Expect the worst. Hope for the best. Expect the worst. That's what you should do, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Unbelievable.
You can't give up hope. At the same time, you can't be naive. It's one of those things.
Yeah, you can't be. Yeah, it's exactly the truth. You got to be a little bit of both. You got to be able to manage both sides of the scale. Unbelievable. You know what it is, Chris? I'm glad to get to know you as just Chris DiCesare. Notice how I said it, Kev? I said it. Perfect, Kev. Because I understand somehow your upbringing, whether you believe it or not. Like I get that whole thing, man. Did you ever use a mop bean? The dishcloth, the mop bean. Get the mop bean, wet it off.
I didn't use it. I've seen it used, but I haven't used it myself because I was on the kitchen.
Did you ever have a big wooden spoon or fork in your kitchen?
Watch out for that.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Get out of the room.
You ever hear of a bada bork? Like when they smack you in the head?
We used to have some deal.
And it's not manicotti, it's monogots.
Zuba the pesh.
All right, good. So that's an unbelievable story. We're at an hour mark. It's just an unbelievable story, right, Kev? Like what else can you say? It really is. It's like tough to digest. It's just unbelievable.
Mike King and I did a call before the show. We were like trying to figure out how we wanted to get a little more detail in some areas, but that story is just incredible. And I'm glad I got to ask some questions that I hadn't seen brought up in some of the other stuff. But that was just an incredible story. I don't know how you went through that as a college kid, because I think of myself as a sophomore in college, was trying to figure out ways to get alcohol, ways to get girls, and ways not to go to class. And
here's an example. I'm sorry. Sophomore year, I transferred URI, right? Yeah. So some kid that I ended up fooling around, a girl I shouldn't have fooled around with, her boyfriend from Providence steals a 20-pack of Natural Light, 24-pack out of my fridge. I roughed the kid up. Like a week later, I break my foot playing basketball. I get a cast from the knee down. Next thing I know, there's 8 kids coming in my room at URI to beat the snot out of me. They break my face. To this day, I have a dent on one side of my nose. Now everybody will notice, and not on the other because my nose was smashed. I sued the college, and I never went back, Chris. And all I got was a beating. You stayed with fucking ghosts cutting you up and crazy stuff. I'm out. I only got beat up on one leg, and I was out, dude. I sued the college. I would have sued over a ghost.
I told you, if it works, you're brave. If it fails, you're stupid. That's how it works. I succeeded because I'm a lot of luck and I'm smart now. It worked. I'm brave. It's a flip of a coin,
all right.
Yeah. I'm good. That was unbelievable. Buddy, anything else? You want to hit? All right, I'm perfect. Kev?
Yep, good.
Chris, you all set?
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you all. Good to see you again, buddy. Been a while.
I had a blast. I had a lot of fun. All right, so for me, Mike Lepre, with Legit Paranormal for Legit Fantasy Sports. Thank you all for watching. Please visit legitfantasysports.com. Wow. Unbelievable. Thank you. Good night.